Best wishes of the day. This is your host, Shubham Das. Welcome to Tangle Talks. With the student entrepreneurial scene rising all across the world, we have someone with us today who has built a niche for himself in space science and is the founder of his own space science startup known as Space Innova. Welcome to the podcast, Shivam.
Thank you so much, Shubham, for inviting me and giving me this opportunity to talk to you guys and to your audience. And I would love to cater to them. So yeah, let the game begin.
That's brilliant. Cool. So today we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting stuff. We're going to be talking about your startup, what your vision is, and we're going to be going deep into how to be how to like a deep dive into the entrepreneurial mindset, about how to be solution oriented, and how to build your startup and how to make your MVP and everything that comes in between. So let's start off with your journey. So you are the founder of Space Innova, and you are a serial entrepreneur, I must say. You're extremely enthusiastic about the work you do, and you have a very strong vision for yourself. So tell us about it.
Thank you so much, Shubham. So guys, basically we have a dream, a vision that by year 2025, we want to make sure that each and every child of this nation should be able to pursue careers in the field of space sciences, irrespective of their background. So no matter what you do, who you are, if you come and tell us like this is the field of space sciences you are interested in, and whether you want to be a hobbyist or you want to pursue a serious career in this field, we would be able to cater to that. And that's exactly what our Vision 2025 is, the first 5 year plan of Space Nova, that we want to create this ecosystem, the space ecosystem where limit would tends to infinity. And that is the direction which we are currently moving in. So, yeah, that's about our
Mhm.
Vision 2025.
That's interesting. Two immediate hurdles I can see. One is the fact that space science and rocket science has this whole stigma around it that, rocket science is probably the hardest thing that, is academically possible to study. And the second is the facilities and the hardware required to, pursue these fields. So, what is your personal vision as to how are you going to overcome first the stigma, but then this facility and infrastructure?
Cool. So, Shum, as you asked, and what we believe is that there are three things which are very much important: the mindset, the motivation which you have, and the method which you use. And starting with the mindset, this is the first thing. Like, if you have the right mindset, your field is fertile and ready to sow the seeds, and we can start the harvest and stuff like that. So that's what we are going to talk about today, like how to be solution oriented, and
Right.
that's what our journey would be like: being solution oriented, a guide to the entrepreneurial mindset. And talking about why being solution oriented is important is because it enables you to do whatever you want to do whenever you want to do. And that's
Mhm.
success for me. That's the freedom for me. Like if I'm able to perform my task on a day to day basis the way I want and whenever I want, uh, that will definitely take me to the journey, take me to the destination where I want. Now, coming to the
Right.
part about the rocket science, which you mentioned, like we need infrastructure and it's quite difficult to attain that. So I would say
Mhm.
like starting with the right mindset and the right motivation when it we come to the method currently with the establishment of InSpace by ISRO and
Right.
the various policies which are
Right.
helping the private space industry, it would be beneficial for us to collaborate with ISRO and use their infrastructures. And currently, I
Makes
think
sense.
that's one solution for us, right?
Wow, that's interesting. That's something I didn't know about. So that's great to see this community is a collaborative environment where everybody is helping each other out to move forward. So you mentioned something called mindset. I think the youth largely the problem they face is the fact that many of us tend to procrastinate. Many of us tend to have fear of going outside our comfort zone. Many of us feel that some if something is difficult, it is easier to quit than to struggle. So with the youth affected with these kind of narratives, what is your mindset as an entrepreneur, and what are the lessons we can learn from you in this approach?
That's an interesting question, Shuman. So, talking about the mindset, the first thing which people need to understand that an entrepreneur is not someone who just owns a company, right? Not every business person who owns a company by default is called as an
Mhm.
entrepreneur. And being an entrepreneur is all about your mindset. So, what we say is that anyone who is choosing to make a difference in the world by making their best possible contribution is called an entrepreneur. So you could be literally anybody. You could be working for a company. There could be a person in the village who might be just a sweeper or something, but with the right
Mhm.
intention and the right method which they are following up, they can change the ecosystem. They can change the environment, and that is what an entrepreneur is for me. So, for
Right.
example, there is a story. I don't remember the name of the person, but that person actually created a lot of job opportunities through the various schemes
Uh-huh.
which banks and the government offers for their local people. And he's not a business owner, but helping the people in their locality and the community and taking those small steps to create that impact is what I call, as an entrepreneur, and being
Right.
and following the entrepreneurship and that journey. So yeah, I would say that is what an entrepreneur would be.
I think that's a beautiful message because every small person, even like if a woman in a village goes ahead and starts her own small chapati business or a khakra business or selling anything of that sort, even if a small knitting business is set up somewhere, anybody who is taking their life into their own hands and trying to make something better out of it, I think that is what entrepreneurship is about. So that's a really beautiful mindset over there. So let's talk about how do you execute this mindset. So what is being solution oriented? So could you give us an example of what being solution oriented actually looks like?
Definitely. So, as we have already discussed that what is the benefit of being solution oriented, and we know that it will enable you to do whatever you want to do, and that looks like a magic. Let us now try
Right.
to understand that how you can become solution oriented and what steps to be followed. So, the first thing which you
Uh-huh.
will need to, be solution oriented is change the way you perceive the world, like become objective oriented, have
Okay.
that learning mindset. Set up your to dos on a day to day basis,
Right.
set up your goals, make up your timeline on various phase basis like 3 months and etc. So become objective oriented. That's what I would say
Right.
first. Like have your objectives, have a learning mindset, be curious, be open. Second thing is consider challenges as an opportunity to learn. So basically, that's where everything starts. The moment we
Right.
face a problem, people think, "Oh my God, how to do this?" Like it's very difficult for me. I'm not at the right age to perform this task. Maybe I'm not
Right.
capable of it. But instead of that, you could be like, oh, another challenge. That's a learning opportunity for me. I can definitely go on and jump into this ocean and then learn to swim. Maybe it will give me an experience of a lifetime, which will provide me an edge over my job. So having
Right.
that mindset to see challenges as an opportunity and not something to be
Right.
afraid of is something which will improve us as a personality. And the third thing is
Mhm.
remember that breath is the thread of the kite. That is your mind. So basically, thanks to the art of living course, right? So basically, one thing which they taught us is if you observe our breath patterns, if you
Right.
see like you will also observe that it also controls the state of your mind, right? If you are in
Correct.
an angry state, you will breathe in a certain pattern. If you are sad, you will
Mhm.
breathe in a certain pattern. So if you want to enter a certain state of emotions, if you know which sort of breath pattern to be followed to is followed in that particular emotional state, you
Mhm.
can control that. Like suppose even if you're feeling low or even if
Right.
you're afraid, we always say the person to breathe deeply and
Correct.
then calm down,
It
right?
calms
That is
you down,
because
right?
exactly, because it then controls your mental state. So that is one key thing which I would like to pass on to the audience.
Yeah,
Another
that
is
makes a lot of sense. Even in terms of things such as meditation, things such as yoga, and all these kind of activities, a lot of it is always involving how you kind of control your body, control your physical state, and things of that sort. But talking about being solution oriented, also we need to address the fact about failure. I'm sure that all of us, including yourself, must have faced a lot of obstacles where you have not been able to achieve what your goal is and things of that sort. So, how do you process failure from a solution oriented point of view? And how do you deal with failure? How do you cope up? How do you get back up? What is your process?
definitely. So the first thing which we need to remember, like whenever we are in that feel of feeling that as we are a failure or something like that, is that remember that no problem is bigger than you, right? So we are
Okay,
human beings, and we are, what we could say is that we are the manifestation of this cosmos, right? So there is no
right,
problem which is bigger than us. If there is a challenge being thrown at us, that means we definitely have the capability to solve it. That's why that responsibility is given to us. So starting with that thing helps you clear the clutter, clear the clouds in your mind, and see things as it is. So that would be one thing. And another which I would add upon it is be ferocious. Like suppose you're very sad, and instead of like getting, oh, I'm not able to do that. Uh, Even
Hmm.
Swami Vivekananda used to do that. He would just shout on the person, and like, come on, man, how can you be your, be this weak or something like that? Be ferocious. I'm not telling you to be aggressive, like,
Hmm.
be frustrated in a manner, but be ferocious in what you do. You don't have to shout, but maybe you would be intensive in whatever you're doing.
Passionate
So
about your emotions.
exactly. So that is, I think, two things I would pass on to the audience to start with. Like,
Right,
remember that the
right. It's
problem is within
extremely
you. And
interesting that you mention it. So, I think you're the kind of person who would vouch for the fact that self doubt is probably the biggest hurdle or obstacle you can ever have in your life. Like, as long as you're sure about yourself, about your goals, and there is no other bigger hurdle than that. So, could you please touch upon your opinions on that?
definitely, and you won't believe, like, there was one of my teacher in my high school. He mentioned that same thing, that always check the flaw in your method, never doubt your intelligence. And that is something which I got, like, when I was at some of my that stage where I was feeling I'm not able to perform to my best level. So that is one thing, that never doubt yourself, because even if you're not able to do or something, by setting, nothing is going to happen. So at least give it a shot without worrying about the results. And
Right.
just check the flaw in your method. And one thing which I would like to share is, whenever you're facing any problem, analyze it
Right.
into three categories: whether the problem is with
Hmm.
the mindset, or it is with the motivation, or is it with the method. When you're analyzing these
Interesting.
three categories, you will
Mhm.
understand that most of your problem will lie somewhere in this triangle, that you have issue with any one of these.
I think that's a beautiful way to look at it. Shivam, many of the things that you have spoken about today is inspired from things that you have read or the experiences that you've had. Could you give us one quote which kind of encapsulates everything that you believe in?
Definitely. So at this point, I would love to share a quote by Terence McKenna. It's like my personal favorite.
Right.
And talking about the quote, it's pretty long, so stay with me. And the quote goes something like this: Nature loves courage. You make the commitment, and the nature will respond to that commitment by
Mhm.
removing impossible tasks. Uh, Dream the impossible dream, and the world will not grind you under. It will lift you up. This is the trick. This is what all the teachers and philosophers who really counted, who really touched the alchemical gold, this is what they understood. This is the shamanic dance and the waterfall. This is how magic is done, by hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering it's a feather bed. So, if you look at the quote, you would understand what Terence McKenna is trying to say is that instead of
Right.
worrying about what is out there, just let yourself fall into that abyss, and you will observe that it's actually a feather bed. It's actually something which you might have wished for. And it seemed like, at least being from the defense background, how swimming was taught to us, instead of
Right.
teaching us all the methods, the moment we asked our fathers that what to do, how to swim, the one thing which they did is
Hmm.
ask the instructor to take us and put us in the
Deep
deep
end.
swimming pool, where the
Right.
water was deep enough, and that's it. That's how we learned swimming for a start.
Wow, that was extremely, extremely motivational, Shivam. Uh, Building upon that, another thing that reminds me about motivation is how the Tangled website is gamified to make all the learners interested and always stay motivated in their learning journeys. I think gamification is extremely important for the learning journey of any person because it always keeps them motivated and it has a reward system in which you feel better about the paths that you're, all the small milestones that you achieve, and you can always be proud of yourself that you have learned something and you're working towards a goal. And that is why I think that it's extremely important for students to learn on platform like Tangled, where they understand how the nitty-gritties of things work out and they can reward themselves on the way as well as complete a larger goal with smaller steps. So that being said, you are also a founder, so we want to learn from your startup journey. So one thing which everybody is extremely interested in knowing is how to start a startup. Where did you get your idea from? How did you manifest it? How did you build your team? What are your products? What is your future? Please.
That's an awesome question, Shivam. So I will, try with some steps in brief. So when you start a startup, and when you think about starting your own journey, the first thing which you need to do is find a mentor. Like many people, if they think that they are good enough, they have a lot of qualities and ability to attain their vision. That's
Hmm.
good. But find a mentor, because that experienced mentor would be able to spot that loopholes in your journey, in your plan, and would be able to help you. Second thing is, set a clear vision in one line as much as possible. And the third would be
Right.
to make your business model, like make your canvas business model. So I won't explain the whole business model, but to keep it in brief, it has several categories in 9 step. You will have to mention your value proposition, the customer
Right.
segment you want to target, what sort of relationship you want to build, and what would
Hmm.
be the channel in which you will serve them, what would be your key
Definitely.
activities, who would be your key partners, the cost structure, and the revenue. So this would be the, I
Correct.
think, first set of steps which any person can start.
Right. So it's extremely interesting you mentioned this. So learning personal finances becomes extremely important, not just for people studying commerce, but also engineers, lawyers, and literally everybody else. Because at the end of the day, all of us are working towards businesses. Probably somebody else's, probably our own life's finances. It becomes extremely important to learn these kind of frameworks that you speak about. How did you manifest your product, and how did you go about it? How did you build your team? How did you attract people?
Yes.
How did you attract talent?
Yes, Shum. So at this point, what I would say, like I would divide this question into two parts. One is like how I started with my product and how I built my team. So talking about
Right.
the product, what I would advise anybody is to go for something called as an MVP, like a minimum viable product. So what
Right.
mistake which most of the company does is that they have an app in their mind, they have some launch vehicle in their mind, and they would directly try to build that. And instead of doing that, what you should do is build an MVP. Now, an MVP
Right.
focuses on core function rather than perfection, right? So suppose, like being from the space industry, I will give the example of building a launch vehicle. The traditional approach would be that in the first year, you build boosters. In the second year, you build your nose cone and the upper part. In the third year, you build your body. And by the fourth year, you have a two-stage rocket perfectly ready for sending the astronauts to space or the payloads
Right.
to space. But in these 4 years, you have never interacted with your customer. You don't know what exactly they need. You don't know what are their feedbacks. Maybe how the industry would have changed in these 4 years. Maybe you would have to change your product in between, right? So instead of having this traditional approach, what you could do is you have to send payloads to
Hmm.
space. That is your target. That is your objective. So start
Right.
with a balloon. Start with a balloon. Send a balloon to space. Send small payloads to space that you can start with. Then you will have some experience. Through this, you will have some revenue generated through that. Then you can go on to do bootstrapping and reinvest the earned money in your company itself without the help of investor. And then in the
Wow.
second year, you can make a plane to send some payloads, launch some payloads into space, at least in
Hmm.
the upper atmosphere part. In the third year, you can
Makes sense.
build a first stage rocket, and by the fourth year, you can have your two-stage rocket. And at this time, with in the same span of years, you have built your two-stage rockets, but you have more experience, you have customer feedbacks, you have your revenue model working, and all that
Right.
stuff.
And I think that's a much more safe and a much more smarter way to go about it, because you're always connected with the market needs. You're always connected with any kind of developing technology and things of that sort. Another interesting thing that you mentioned is how much the importance of finding a mentor is. You said that's the first step, and many times first step is considered as the most important, as the most bold step. So, how did you find a mentor, and how would you advise our listeners that they go about it?
Cool enough. So, like my journey was pretty different. Like, I got my mentor through one of my friend. Like, he was his brother, and then we were just networking, sharing our vision with each other. And then one fine day, at a Haldiram, he said, "Shivam, why don't you, work with me and let us give this a shot?" But the right way and the fundamental part here is networking. So if you network either through LinkedIn or through your office, offline networks, call up your friends, try to find who are there in their connections and stuff, try to have an offline meet. That is something which I think would be a great way to start with networking. And talking about
Wow.
the audience, so if anyone is interested in the space industry, or you want to find a mentor in the space industry, you can
Right.
join our global community of space exploration at our Discord server, that is spaceonova.com/discord. That is the like link, and you would be most welcome to join us.
Thank you for this really beautiful message, Shivam, that networking is extremely important for any student looking to get a mentor, or any entrepreneur looking to start off their journey with their product or with their company. That also reminds us about how Tangled is a peer-to-peer network wherein you can find, our listeners can find people like you to connect to and get some kind of guidance, some kind of mentorship, and that helps them in their journey for exploring the fields that they are interested in. So I think that's a note that we should end this discussion on. I had a lot of fun talking to you, Shivam. I'm sure that our listeners learned a lot about having the correct positive mindset, about being solution oriented, about how to understand your finances and how that's important in building your own startup. Before we leave, any last messages?
Yeah, so it was a great interaction for me too, Shubham. Like, I really love the platform, the Tangle, and the initiative which you guys are taking. And the last message which I would have for anybody is that same framework. Always check, whether there is an issue with motivation or the mindset or the method. Keep this three M's in your mind, and you will easily able to, you would be easily able to identify your issue. And by being solution oriented, you can even solve them. So, good luck with your journey.
With that beautiful message, I would take our leave. Thank you for listening to our podcast. Bye bye. Have a nice day.